Hey everyone, so one of the cool things that you can do with the GX100 is you have this feature called the divider, which allows you to set either two amps independent of each other, like a clean and overdrive amp, or you can combine the two. So you can have like a heavy gain sound and a heavy gain amp and a cleaner amp, and then bring the level of the cleaner amp into the mix of the heavier sound to give it a little bit more clarity. However, to do a channel 3 switching type of amp where you have a clean a clean channel, an overdrive channel or a crunch channel, and a lead channel or a solo channel, so 1, 2, and 3, we're going to set that up here, and I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? So let me go back, let me choose a good preset for this, because all my presets are set up that use that template with some other things. So I'm going to use the Limelight song that I have from Rush as an example, okay? And I'm going to make this a two-part series where we set up 3 channels and also add some features, okay? So on this particular song, I've got a crunch sound that I need a clean sound for one part of the song, and I need a lead channel for another part of the song, which also at the very end of that solo feeds back. I'm not going to do the feedback part in this video. I'll do it in a second follow-up video. First, we're going to set up the 3-channel system, okay? So you need to have a divider set in here, okay? That's number 1. And on the divider, you have to set it for mode single with, I could set it back and forth, but basically single, and whatever amp you're on, you want to make sure that's the one that is selected on C1. We're going to assign C1 to preamp 1. Okay, we're going to assign preamp 2 to C1 too as well. So what happens is when I step on C1, it toggles back and forth, okay? And the only way you can do this is you have to be able to have your divider set correctly, okay? So I'm on clean channel up here, okay? And that matches what I want it to be on the board, okay? So channel A is selected, and it shows that my green button is lit up, which means that this is the active channel up here. Okay, so I can go back and forth. So here's your clean channel, here's your crunch channel. It's as simple as that. And I'm using one button to do this. What this does is it frees up some buttons for other things, okay? I went back and forth. How am I going to replicate this song with only the number of buttons that I have, given the number of effects that Alex was using? You know, he uses a chorus, he uses delays, he uses reverbs, and I needed to be able to have that feedbacker plus a second delay added to be able to do that. So if we go back here, and again, I want to focus on the channel 1 and 2 and channel 3 switching and how we set that up and what happens. So I'm on channel 2 right now. It's my overdrive channel. Okay, I'm going to select this to bring the focus towards it, and I want you to watch a few things here. When I step on the next button, and I'm going to tell you how to do this, this is going to be my 3rd channel, and you're going to see what happens. Pay attention to the middle right here, the gain stage here, and the solo button here. They both changed. Okay, so I was on my crunch channel. This is my crunch sound. Now when I select manual 4, it triggers my preamp and targets the gain stage and changes the parameter from middle to high, and it turns my solo switch on. Nothing else is changing here, okay? Just more volume and an extra gain stage, okay? To give me that a little bit more of a boost, as well as a different sound for the solo. Now, how do we do this? Okay, it's actually pretty simple. Okay, and I'm going to walk you through it right now. So I'm going to go back to my middle stage here, and I want you to take a note. So my gain my gain stage is set for middle, and my solo switch is on. My solo level is set to 22, which means that when I engage the 3rd stage, or I step on button 4, it's going to engage the solo switch, the extra gain stage, and a boost of that level. Okay, now I can go louder or whatever, but generally speaking, you don't want to go too loud, because remember, like when you have your volume up live, it can be quite a significant difference, right? So if I'm blasting things on stage and I put this at 50, it's going to be deafening on stage. We don't want that, right? And we don't want to make it easy for the sound guy too. By the way, my system is going direct to a Headrush FR cab, okay? Just so everyone knows that, okay? Not to an amp, it's going right to an FR cab, which allows me to capture very, very good quality sound. Okay, so I'm back at my gain stage, my overdrive channel 2. My focus is here, and I want to show you how we're going to change these settings to give you that third channel. So the first thing you're going to do is you need to go into your Control EXP settings and then click on Assign Settings. And you're going to assign 2 parameters, right, for preamp 2, right? First one is we want the solo switch, okay? So from the drop-down menu, page 1, select preamp 2. Assign it to manual button 4, or whatever button you want to use. I use C1 to channel switch between between clean and overdrive, and I use button 4 to be my lead boost or my lead channel, okay? I like them next to each other. It makes it easier. It's at the end of the path, and it makes it easier for when I'm doing using the volume control and I need to get back and forth between the volume and that part of the board for those buttons. So preamp 2, manual 4, from the target parameter select solo switch. Set it to toggle if it isn't already there, and then your minimum and maximum are going to be off and on, which means that when I'm in, no matter what channel I'm in, whether I'm in channel clean or overdrive, when I step on button 4, it's going to engage the solo switch. So this can actually be used kind of handy if you want to go from, say, like clean right to your solo, okay? And some songs do that, but in this one, I like to have it give me some options. So that's preamp 2, manual 4, solo switch. This turns the solo switch on, and now we're going to go to the gain switch. Okay, it's important that you remember what your previous setting was. So again, preamp 2, manual 4, assign it to that. Select your gain switch, or your gain stage, I guess, from the drop down, and then whatever your return state or your beginning state is, this is what you want to have it. So on my overdrive channel, my channel 2, I have it set for gain stage middle. Okay, but when I step on the manual 4 button and I want to engage that boost, when I engage this, I want it to go from a middle to a higher gain stage, which adds more gain, but I'm not changing anything else. Okay, just a volume boost and more gain. Okay, and then click OK. So now that's what allows me to get my overdrive to a lead sound, middle and off. Watch, middle and solo, sorry. See, and it changes every time I step on it, it goes back. So it toggles back and forth between those two. Okay, and you'll notice I've got 2 signal chains, right? So I can have other things get turned on and off when I am in this kind of a setup. So in the Limelight song, there's a part of the solo where he engages, where there's at the end of the solo, there's the note feeds back. And the way this was done originally was that Alex recorded that outside at the studio, and they captured the natural reverb from the canyons. Okay, when he did this live, like the Exit Stage Left album, he had to use 2 delay pedals to be able to do that. And what he do is at the end, very end of that solo, he hit that note, and then he momentarily hit the delay pedal, the second delay pedal, which was set to feed back at about 80 to 90%. So it would keep feeding back, but over time it would fade as it fed back. And he had the level set, to about 50% on that, so it would fade, but it wouldn't fade quickly. You'd still hear it in the mix as he switched back into the chorus of the song. Okay, I'm going to save that part for a second video, and I'll show you how I did that. But this is basically how you set up your 3-channel system. So channel 1, channel 2, and then channel 3. So now I've got 3 sounds that I can use, And the cool thing about this is I use this as my template. So I set this up, and then, yeah, you know, certain songs will, you know, will need certain other effects, like Unchained. I had an add a flanger, Run Like Hell needs a flanger and all that stuff. But basically, this is how I set up my sound, and I use this as a template, and I simply just write it, and then I save it to an open slot. Okay, I choose an open slot and save it, and that becomes my template. Okay, and I've got some things down here that kind of reflect that. Okay, but anyway, that's how you do it. I hope that helps.